Christmas came early, Big East Hoops fans, because conference play really revs up here tonight with a doubleheader ahead on FS1. We're setting the table for you on Shoot-Around. John Fanta here from our New York City studios as we've got 2 league games. 9 Big East games will be played between tonight and Christmas. Of course, a Christmas Day special coming on December 25th when Creighton takes on DePaul on Fox. But league play really gets rolling after that conference opener between DePaul and St. John's with the doubleheader this evening. It's Xavier traveling to Georgetown at 6:30 Eastern Time, and that'll be followed by Creighton at Marquette in a conference opener that has changed in what you thought it might mean at the start of the season. We'll get to that. Coming up on tonight's show, it's a one-on-one with Marquette head coach Shaka Smart. How the Golden Eagles have gone from a preseason number 9 in the Big East coaches poll to being one of the biggest surprises in college basketball. Plus, a feature on the Butler Bulldogs, who have Fab Mata at the helm and have been playing better basketball as of late. The Bulldogs find themselves in the top 50 of the net rankings. Yes, that means you are very much in place heading into conference play to contend for an NCAA tournament slot. Will we see that translate here? They have a big one Saturday night when they welcome in number 3 UConn, which is where we begin our headlines. How about those Huskies? Number 3 in the country, and they are the deepest team in America. You think about what Dan Hurley has assembled with an undefeated group after a perfect non-conference play performance. On Saturday, they faced LIU. And yes, it was LIU. But UConn put up over 100 points. They made it look easy. Andre Jackson with one of the best plays you will see in the entire season. And folks, Donovan Clingan and Alex Caravan didn't miss a single shot in the first half. They combined to go 13 for 13 from the floor in the first 20 minutes. I don't care who's on the other side. The fact is the Huskies are in sync. And they have a team with guys who are embracing each of their roles, doing it at a very high level. UConn brought in Tristan Newton. They brought in Naheem Aline. They brought in Hassan Diarra. It's not like one of them has been unbelievably exceptional. They've all just been steady. UConn is steady. They're deep. They don't need any one player to win. And that's what makes the Huskies the Big East frontrunner heading into league play. Number 2, it's a double dip of Big East hoops, and that comes here this evening with the Xavier Musketeers traveling to the Georgetown Hoyas coming up on FS1. Yes, it's Sean Miller's Big East coaching debut in conference play. Xavier, a team that's coming off wins over West Virginia and Cincinnati. The Musketeers are powered by Souley Boum, who has been one of, if not in contention to be the best of the transfers in the Big East. What Boum has done at the point guard slot for Xavier, he makes things go for the Musketeers offensively, and it's what's led Xavier to being one of the best offensive teams in America and having some of the best tempo. You take a look at Xavier and the metrics, folks. I looked this up with you. They're 11 in KenPom adjusted offensive efficiency, and they're top 30 in tempo. And Souley Boum is the reason for that. He is the engineer of that offense, and Colby Jones has been able to benefit, and so are Jack Nungy and Zach Fremantle in their 1-2 punch in the front court. The key for the Musketeers in conference play, depth. Can they develop that 7 or 8-man rotation? We shall see if that's able to come to fruition. Finally, how about Saturday night at Hinkle Fieldhouse? It's the Butler Bulldogs and the UConn Huskies. It'll come 7 Eastern Time on FS1, and that one is in prime time. It gets preceded, though, in conference play on Saturday at 12:30 Eastern Time. The Providence Friars traveling to the Seton Hall Pirates. It's Shaheen Holloway's Big East coaching debut, and he welcomes in the defending Big East regular season champion Providence Friars. The matchup that you want to watch in that game, folks, is Bryce Hopkins for Providence taking on Casey Nadefo for Seton Hall. Quickly, last March, Bryce Hopkins was on the end of the bench as a Kentucky Wildcat. Kentucky was falling to St. Peter's. Casey Nadefo's jumping for joy. Bryce Hopkins is thinking, where am I going to go next? Because I'm not playing at Kentucky. Hopkins now has a chance to leave his mark with Nadefo, the star of last March, guarding him. Does that not say some fun? Then the guard play. We shall see what happens with Jared Bynum and Kadari Richmond meeting. The Prudential Center will have a lower bowl sellout. It's on Fox, and it comes tomorrow, 12:30 Eastern Time. Providence and Seton Hall, two Big East charter members going at it in New Jersey. Let's turn back to those Marquette Golden Eagles. An 8-3 start to the season, highlighted by wins over Baylor, and then on the road this past weekend at Notre Dame, with Big East Player of the Week Cam Jones leading the way. And Shaka Smart has used those doubters, those sleepers on his program to his team's advantage. Here's our one-on-one with the Marquette head coach.
It is great to be joined by the head coach of the 8-3 Marquette Golden Eagles, Shaka Smart, who leads his team against the Creighton Blue Jays Friday night, 8:30 Eastern Time on FS1 at what should be a rocking Fiserv Forum. Shaka, what has impressed you the most about what your team has done thus far this season?
Well, first of all, it's good to be on with you, John. And we're super excited about the start of Big East play. Those non-conference games went so fast. It's amazing that we're already done with those. So, our guys, our goal coming out of the summer was to grow as much as any team in the country over the course of the preseason and the regular season and going into the postseason. And we wanted to be playing our best basketball in late February and early March, which obviously is still ahead of us. But our guys have really done a good job coming together around learning and growing and trying to help each other be our best. We're certainly far from a finished product. We've got a lot of areas to continue to improve in. But the thing that I really am pleased about is that, to a man, each of our guys has done a great job taking ownership of their own growth and the team's growth.
You look at Sunday's win at Notre Dame, a 15-point victory over a solid Fighting Irish team. And the line that comes to mind is Oso Ighodaro. To go for 16 points and 18 rebounds. You talked about his development. Now, what have you seen from him?
Well, he's a guy really from April of last year that we thought, man, this guy's going to be able to take a big jump. And, of course, going into the year, all the experts on the Big East, won't name any names, but nobody really gave him much love because, he didn't put up a lot of numbers last year. And I think you could say that for some other guys on our team. But what we had seen in our practice gym here at the Al McGuire Center was this guy's going to have a chance to have a really good season for us and contribute to winning. So Oso's really been bought in as a leader, I would say, along with Tyler Kolek, our best leader on our team. And leadership for us is very simple. It's just making those around you better. And he's done a really good job using his intellect, his work ethic, his relationships with his teammates to make his teammates better.
For you, player development is the theme that comes to mind. You have returning players who might have been off the map nationally, as we just discussed, who have taken significant leaps. How much pride do you take in bringing in someone and saying, yes, at Marquette, you're going to become a better basketball player and human?
Well, everybody's got their different way to go about it. And that's one of the cool things about coaching and about sports is you can skin a cat in a dozen different ways and come out with the same result. But for me, I only really know our way. And that's what I was taught by the coaches that I played for, I worked for. And that is, John, player development and personal development are the same thing. It's the exact same thing. You can't develop significantly as a player if you're not growing in the areas of personal and competitive character that have helped people win and be successful in sports for scores of years. And so, the way we go about it, we choose to go about it is, let's get to know these guys when they're juniors in high school. Let's develop relationships with them and their families that are deep and that go beyond just basketball. Let's, sign a good class each year that we can really pour into, and over the course of their senior year, indoctrinate into how we do things and what makes up our culture. And then when they get here in early summer, let's work like crazy to get them up to speed with, what our returning players already know. And then, of course, as we know, that freshman year is going to be a roller coaster. It's going to be up and down. We're probably not going to get a lot of guys that come in here and set the world on fire as freshmen every game. That's okay. Just come in and contribute to a team, be a part of something larger than yourself. And the thing that I learned at VCU in my first 6 years as a coach is if guys can do that, like Cam Jones did last year as a freshman, or like Chase Ross is doing this year as a freshman, man, by the time they get to their sophomore year, if they're developing, those guys are ready to be really, really good players for you. And then you got, potentially 2 more years after that for them to be ass kickers, which is what we all want. So that's our formula for development. But again, on the court and off the court is intertwined. And I just don't feel like for us, and maybe other people are much, much better at it, I don't think you can do that the same way with transfers. That being said, can you win the same way? Absolutely. I mean, it's been shown. And so, we're just going to go about it the way we go about it. And we're going to pour into the guys we have. We're going to really, really value the guys that have worn our uniform, probably got over guys that haven't. And we'll see what happens from there.
You've got the Big East Player of the Week in Cam Jones. How would you define him as one of the best in college basketball?
Well, remember, John, we're talking about a guy, and this goes for every guy on our team, that nobody thought enough of to put on a preseason all-conference team, even honorable mention. So, the thing that I appreciate about Cam and his teammates is they do have a chip on their shoulder. They do have something to prove. And, people may say something nice about them like you just did after 11 games, but that doesn't really change the fact that, there's an impetus behind what we do. And, one of the things that I really like about Cam is he doesn't mind, showing and going after the fact that, I still got some stuff to show. I still got some stuff to prove. We just played against a guy that was a McDonald's All-American. And I said, Cam, he's a McDonald's All-American. You're a Burger King All-American. And we're going to show that Burger King is better than McDonald's. And what I love about him is he buys into stuff like that. But he's a gifted player, can really score the ball. He's a really good teammate. He's emerging as a defensive player, getting better, starting to take more pride in that end. And he's a guy that the moment is never too big for him. And that's a good sign as just a sophomore.
Madison Square Garden, the Big East Championship. The Hoyas are the champions. St. John's winners here at the Garden. Overtime number 6. Step back. Walker. Cardiac timber. Sold out Madison Square Garden, the mecca of basketball. On the move. He'll take a 3. Bang! Providence is going to win it. How about that? To the basket.
We thank Shaka for his time. Now let's turn to the Butler Bulldogs. Top 3 in the Big East in scoring defense, only allowing 63 points per game. Thad Matta has brought that toughness element back to the program. He's done it with an NC State transfer in Manny Bates, big-time rim protector who just adds a physical presence. Bates will be tested Saturday at 7 Eastern Time on FS1 when Butler welcomes in number 3 UConn. I am really looking forward to seeing Bates meet Adama Sanogo, as well as Donovan Clingan and that Huskies physical front court that just comes at you in waves. As for Butler, you think about Chuck Harris, Simas Lukosius, and now the Purdue transfer Eric Hunter Jr. And a team that has battled some injuries and some adversity has come out of non-conference play playing their best basketball thus far this season. How is it all happening in Indy with the return of a proud man in Butler basketball? Thad Matta and the Dogs joined us earlier in the preseason.
I didn't know a ton about Butler University, and I came over here one day with my dad and walked in and looked at the court, looked at the building, just said, this is where I'm going. growing up where I did. There was something about this place. I don't think there's anything more pure than Hinkle Fieldhouse. That's what sold me. Going to school here, playing here, coaching here as an assistant, as a head coach, now to be back. I mean, I don't think very many coaches in this profession get that opportunity. You know, as I tell kids in recruiting, there's no coach that the place they're recruiting you to means more to than this place means to me. You believe in all the things that this university stands for, and you know, you come into one of the most famous basketball facilities every day, and it's just a unique opportunity.
Stepping into a three, it's all this. Butler is rolling early.
You know, it's funny, I look back at the time at Ohio State, and you know, we built that program from really nothing. You know, as I look at the things that we were able to accomplish there, you know, couldn't be prouder, happier. I mean, that was just a tremendous chapter of my life. You know, I think is probably the thing I look back most is the guys that I coached, and you know, those guys are family. That's what I think I enjoy now, being back here at Butler, is establishing those relationships with the players again. That they go so much deeper than basketball. If we can make an impact on these guys and their lives and make them better people, they'll be better players, and that's what excites me as I move forward.
Manny Bates, swatted by the right hand of Manny Bates. My goodness, Bates on the finish.
Finally getting Manny healthy, and you know, he was able to turn the corner in mid-July. You know, it's funny, when we were overseas on our trip in Italy and Greece, every game he got better. And he told me, he says, "Coach, I was nervous." He said, "I hadn't played in a long time, and you know, was a little bit worried about getting hit, that sort of thing." And that's the thing I like about what I've seen with Manny, is just how he just keeps getting better every day.
Hunter fakes the three, drives inside, an underhand toss, and it goes down. A little bit of everything from Eric Hunter Jr.
Eric knows how to play. I love Eric's maturity, his understanding of the game. He's a tremendous young man. Obviously, he's a local kid, being from Indianapolis, you know, playing up the street in West Lafayette, and he can bring a lot to this team, and he's won before. You know, he's won a lot of games in college basketball, and that's something we need on this team, is guys that know how to win.
And now Hunter Jr. throws it ahead to Taylor, kept it in play. Jaden lays it in, and the foul.
I've been very, very pleased in terms of Jaden's progress. You know, he's a tremendous worker. I don't think there's been a weekend I've came in since I've taken this job that he and several of his teammates haven't been in here. He's starting to see the game better. He's doing more than just trying to score the ball. He's really grasping what we want to do defensively, and I think he can be a very, very good defender for us. I really do.
Now Harris for three. Good! Chuck Harris has a new career high.
I love Chuck, you know, and a lot like Jaden. I mean, he's a worker. You know, when I look back from where he was when we started defensively to where he is today, he's going to be a really, really good defender for us as well. Hopefully this is a year where he can kind of separate himself in terms, because he wants to be a great player and he's willing to do the work.
Tremendous play, Chuck Harris.
There's been some turnover in the Big East this year. Obviously there's some new coaches, but there's also some stability in this league. And I've said this, I was blown away how talented, how well coached this league is. I didn't know a lot about the Big East. You know, this is without a doubt one of the best conferences in college basketball, period. Anything can happen here. NCAA tournaments, conference championships. Now we are in a different league. We haven't won the Big East. But I think that's the goal of what we're ultimately after. You know, I'm going to hold steadfast to who I am and just what this university is about, and what we need to do here to build a championship caliber basketball program.
Why not? Yes! Ferocious from three.
And I'm excited about it.
All right, let's do it. The Big East Hoops mailbox is open. We ask for your questions, you submit them, and we give you the answers. It's better than letters to Santa. Here we go. JP Carlissimo. at JP Carlissimo. That should tell you who he's a fan of, the Seton Hall Pirates. He asks, if you had to pick one Big East coach to switch places with for a day, who would it be and why? Thad Matta at Butler. Because you watch Hoosiers growing up. Gene Hackman. The whole Indiana basketball, the vibe, the tradition of it. Hinkle magic is real. I would want to trade places with that. I'd want to do it tomorrow night. Because college basketball is about opportunity. And Butler has a sensational opportunity on Saturday, hosting the number 3 team in the country. Could we see a court storming? Could we see Hinkle magic? I would love to be on the sidelines for that. So I would like to switch places with Thad Matta because I get to interact with Butler Blue. Hinkle Fieldhouse popcorn's pretty good. Like if the popcorn machine could be on every day in the building, not just game days, and I get to go to work and enjoy that, and you got a live dog mascot, the combination of all those things would make me want to be at Butler and trade places with Thad Matta. Good question, JP Carlos. I like this submission. It's different. It was fresh. Okay. Our next question. Let's take a look here. It comes from at Sad NY Sports Fan 1. Now, I hope Sad NY Sports Fan 1 that your fortunes in the new year are happier and joyous. And I hope that your St. John's Red Storm can piece something together. The Johnnies are down in Florida. They're going to take on Florida State on Saturday in the Orange Bowl Classic. It's a game that St. John's could really use to just keep everything in line. Right now, a top 50 KenPom team. They look like they can very much be an NCAA tournament team, but you got to win that game, and then you jump back into conference play with a trip to Villanova. At Sad NY Sports Fan 1 asks us, as we look to Big East play, which team do you think is the sleeper team and could even sneak into the tournament? So I don't think St. John's is a sleeper because we saw this coming. We thought that they had the talent to be one of the better teams in the Big East. The sleeper team is Providence because Providence has not put together a non-conference resume that would necessarily suggest that they're an NCAA tournament team. They don't have that great win. But in 2019-20, when the first net report came out, the Providence Friars were 146. Had the tournament not get canceled due to COVID, Providence was going to go dancing. Remember that year with Lawan Pipkins and a team that just wasn't able to find themselves? Then January hit, and all of a sudden, boom. Bryce Hopkins gives off those vibes. It's taken him time to figure out his role. He is the only player in the Big East to lead his team in scoring and rebounding. He could do it all. If Providence gets enough backcourt play from Jared Bynum, Devin Carter, Noah Locke, that backcourt's got to find some synergy because they've got a matchup nightmare in Hopkins. He's a stretch four who makes it happen. He gives me LaDontae Henn vibes, other power forwards that Ed Cooley's been able to work his offense around. The flex and power forwards really seem to mesh. Providence is a sleeper team. Look out for them. Big one Saturday at Seton Hall for two teams that could be sleepers in this conference. Who's going to set the tone to their league season? B.E. Golden Eagle asks, how many league games do you estimate Marquette will have to win to make the tournament? Well, they're 8-3 and they have wins over Baylor and Notre Dame. So I'm going to sit here and say if they go 11-9, they're in good shape. They're in good shape because you've got to win over Baylor. Baylor, folks, could be a legitimate Final Four contender, and their resume is going to be great. Baylor's going to get big-time wins in the Big 12. So I go with 11-9 in this conference this year. I think that suffices because you know why, folks? Marquette built a non-conference resume. They built a real non-conference resume. So that's what I would do. That's what I would say with Marquette in conference play. I'm looking for one more question here because we got a bunch that came in late. Let's see. Timmy DaCosta asks us, John, what do you think the ceiling is for Creighton after the past few weeks that they've had? Timmy, I still think that the Creighton Blue Jays are going to be one of the best teams in the Big East, and if they get it together right, there's no question that on Creighton's best day, they're one of the best 15 teams in the country. because I can't help but think of the best game that we've seen, at least in my opinion, this year in college basketball. The level that Creighton touched when they beat Arkansas in Maui was really, really impressive against a Razorbacks program that's been to the last 2 Elite Eights. Ryan Kalkbrenner's got to come back. He's got to be healthy. They need the Kalk to protect the rim and do all of the things that they ask him to do, because his length changes everything with their guard play and with their playmaking. They got to have Ryan Nembhard and Trey Alexander on the same page. And Art Kaluma, he's a guy that's so skilled. Can they channel it? Right now, to me, Creighton doesn't have the flow that you've become accustomed to seeing over the years. But Greg McDermott showed us that as the season goes on, his teams get better and better and better. And the beauty of this conference is that opportunity knocks. Tonight, for Creighton, at Marquette, they've played a lot of wild games over the years with the Golden Eagles. You know Creighton's going to put their best foot forward. The Golden Eagles are very, very good. That's what makes this matchup this evening exciting. No harm, really, for the loser of the game. Just expect a game that could go down the wire. And a Creighton team, frankly, that's the more desperate team heading into this game. So, Timmy, take a breath, enjoy your Christmas, and enjoy your Blue Jays on Christmas when they take on DePaul. That's right, Sunday, December the 25th, Big East Hoops on Christmas Day. It's the gift that keeps on giving. It'll be after the Dolphins and the Packers on Fox, so right around 4:30 Eastern Time, you can catch the Blue Jays and the Blue Demons in Big East Hoops action. We wish you all a happy holiday season. We'll have updates for you throughout next week at Big East MBB. And Merry Christmas, Big East Hoops fans. Enjoy the basketball and enjoy your families.